welcome back. Today I am joined by Dr. William Wallace, who is the Medical Director of General Surgery at Saddleback Medical Center. And I also am joined by Dr. Julio Duarte, who is the Vice Chief of Staff, and he's an anesthesiologist. Well, welcome both of you to our program. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Lisa.
Now, there's a lot of folks in our community who are frightened to go to the hospital because of COVID-19. Now, I know that elective surgeries had stopped for a while, and now I believe we can come back to the hospital to start doing that. Although, you know, we have a few people who are a little afraid. So what type of surgeries right now have resumed back at Saddleback Medical Center?
I'll take that one, Lisa, if you don't mind. So right now we're essentially cleared by the government to do every operation. So all operations are cleared. The last ones to happen would have been considered the cosmetic surgery, maybe operations that really didn't need to be done, but we wanted to be done, as opposed to operations that should be done and can wait. So since the inception, we've been doing emergency surgery. We've been doing a great job. And a couple weeks ago, we started doing pretty much all of the operations that we've had. We've made a lot of changes. The biggest changes that we've made are that we're testing all of our patients. 2 days before surgery, we have a testing center set up with the hospital. They're doing a fantastic job. It's incredibly well organized. Then we're asking our patients to quarantine, then we're operating on them. And while they're in the hospital, we're wearing masks. We're doing all of the precautions and probably more. And we've been very successful of not spreading the virus to any of our healthcare workers. Dr. Duarte can confirm this, but my understanding is we have not had any documentation of a single healthcare worker getting it from patients. We've had no documentation of patients getting it from healthcare workers or patients getting it from patients. So you could make an argument that our hospital is the safest place to be in this pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds amazing. I mean, you watch TV and you hear so many frightening stories, especially out of New York. We were getting so much information and it was scary. So, Dr. Duarte, in relation to that, that's an amazing concept.
So I just wanted to piggyback on what Dr. Wallace said. And, a big point I wanted to get across is delaying medical care has its own set of risks. And you really have to evaluate that. And I'll hate for somebody to be afraid to come to Saddleback and end up on a worse situation rather than coming in. And like Dr. Wallace said, we're early to implement. We're very aggressive on implementing safety measures at Saddleback, all the things that you expect people to do, right? The temperature checking, the wearing, all the staff is wearing face masks and goggles. All the patients are coming in with masks. I'm very proud to say that to this day, after we do contact tracing, there has been zero transmission rate between patient to physician or staff, or from staff to patient. So, like I said, I feel when I go to work, I feel safer than when I go grocery shopping.
That's true.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's an amazing concept. I mean, I'm congratulations. That is really a testament to what you guys have been doing. And early on, we had talked to the ER department, and they had everything sectioned out. So you guys are really on top of it. That's great. Tell me something. So, Dr. Wallace, you had alluded to the patient. You're going to have them tested for COVID-19 prior to them having surgery. Are there some other things that they can expect that would be different than if they were to come in prior to COVID starting?
That's a great question. Right now, we're testing people, and you may be aware, most people are aware, we're restricting the visitors. We're screening everybody that comes into the hospital. You're not allowed to be in the hospital if you don't have a mask. Any temperature or symptoms, people are not allowed in the hospital. So our one, screening process for sure. Number two, all of our entrances are guarded so that we can just ensure that this process is complete. We are letting visitors in on a case-by-case situation, so that's definitely different. And we can't wait till we can open that policy up, but we just want to be so for everybody. Which reminds me of just a quick story. I was having some flight anxiety for a while, and I had a patient who was a pilot, and I told him, I go, I gotta tell you, I've read all about this turbulence. And the pilot goes, listen, I feel safer in the plane than I do in my car. And I think it's the same thing with Dr. Orte. I feel safest in the hospital. So I've been going to the gym and wearing a mask, not too much grocery store stuff. My wife does that stuff for me, but I feel the safest when I'm in the hospital. I don't see. I had a partner, he grew a complete goatee over like 2 months. I didn't know. Because
you have your masks on.
I was like, what? And so that would reiterate. So those are the changes that we're seeing. And it's just been very productive for us. And I feel safest in the hospital.
That's awesome. And then let me, so Dr. Duarte, one thing that he was mentioning is in regards to having a COVID-19 test prior. You know, I was under the impression that it was going to take longer than 2 days to get your results back. Is that not the case now?
Right. Well, as I'm sure you're aware, there are different kinds of testings and different places where we send the testing, right? So let me back up for a second. I'll answer that question. But, you know, at Saddleback, we were early on really interested on, you know, figuring out how to fight the surge, right? So it's a logistical problem, right? It's how do you shuttle patients from here to there? How do you make sure that the staff's safe? And really, in my opinion, the corporations that are the most organized are the corporations that are going to do the best. So we meet every day. 9:30, we have physicians, administrators, managers, building engineers, and we huddle together, we talk about it, and we figure out, okay, early on, we were figuring out how do we implement process so when this thing comes our way, how do we fight it, right? And then now we're really moving on the discussion and our attention to now that all those processes are in place, right? When patients come in, which follow the protocol. Now we're going more into how do we come out of this better, right? How do we make it so that MemorialCare and Saddleback is a stronger organization and our patients are safe on the long run. So we have in-house COVID testing. We have the fast Abbott system that can be done fairly early, right? But the other thing that we did is we set up a drive-through clinic. So the patients that have surgery scheduled, they can easily come in, drive through, and have their tests done a few days before surgery. That way we time it right, because timing is important with the testing too, so that they time it right. But then we went one step further and said, you know what? We're going to have all these pre-op patients driving through. Why don't we give them their NPO guidelines? Why don't we give them the documentation that they need for prior to their surgery and do the things that we need to do right on the car? So, you know, I have a feeling this might be one of those things that we might never go back to, the way we used to do the things, because it's working quite well.
Right. Well, that's good to know. And you know, when you set up the drive-through, I think that, again, we look at the news and they have piles and piles of cars in a line, but they forget to say, oh, that's not California or that's not Orange County, and they're showing all these other places, and then, you know, our people are afraid because they think that's us. So thank you for clarifying that. That's great. You know, in regards to surgeries themselves, has the actual surgery process changed at all, either between the collaboration of the doctor and the anesthesiologist? I mean, do you have to do different protocols because of COVID-19?
Cam, do you want me to take that, or do you want to?
You know, I think I'll just briefly say most of the changes that we've made are with the anesthesiologists and being safer as far as sterilization and the technique that we use. That really hasn't, but I'll let Dr. Duarte address some of the changes we made from anesthesia standpoint.
Okay.
Right. So I'm actually pretty excited. Again, it falls into the category of how do we make this better, right? How looking around at the evidence, how do we get patients to feel more comfortable through surgery? How to perhaps discharge them faster out of the hospital? And like one really cool example is what we're doing on labor and delivery. The cesarean sections are, one of the most common surgeries in the United States these days. And we are now looking into how do we reduce the narcotic use, how do we make patients feel less sick after surgery. So we're doing things like, actively giving them fluids before the surgery while keeping them safe. And there's this new technique called a tap block, where we use an ultrasound guidance and we inject medication on their lower abdomen. And really cool findings. We did a small study at Saddleback with patients that had C-sections at Saddleback before and after, so there were their own controls. And we found that we're able to reduce the narcotic usage. On average, they were taking about 15 doses of an opioid. We reduced those doses to 2. And then on top of that, we were able to find that people were going home about a day earlier. So again, it's really looking at how to individualize the approach to anesthesia and how to fit that in our current environment.
Right, right. It's interesting, even though COVID-19 isn't a great, it's not a great thing and the process isn't wonderful, but what it's done is it's made us take a look at our operations and the way that we, go about our business. So it sounds like you both in all of your departments have really learned a lot. And like you said, how can you make things better going forward? So that's wonderful news to hear. In closing, is there anything in particular that I might have missed or that you would like to mention? Either one of you?
I would like to say 2 short things if possible, but they're not really short, they're long. Just kidding. First of all, most people may not realize, but we're MemorialCare is part of a huge system. Right. So this all went down. We had people at the Long Beach campus, Orange Coast campus, Saddleback campus. We're part of MemorialCare Medical Group, which has hundreds of physicians, and GMP, which is an HMO. And all these minds came together and we're working on a daily basis. So this is really hundreds and maybe thousands of minds together, coming together with a really great plan. So it's not one person reading each day, it's hundreds of people reading each day and coming up with a family plan. And most may not know that's the power. It's like Verizon commercials, like 1,000 people behind you. So we are bringing a real force and a medical army to protect our patients. And the last thing that I'll say is, as a surgeon, was not intimately involved as chief of staff and vice chief of staff, Tom Bovan and Julia Duarte. But the leadership at our hospital and the way things were set up and formalized, and areas were quarantined, and we had purple zones and red zones and rainbow zones. And it was, if you go into an area that's been designated, there's a person that watches you to make sure you put on appropriate gowns and masks and face shields and takes it off, and just to really ensure all of the things that we're doing. I was very impressed, just as a bystander on that end. I would very impressed. I would let anyone in my family members come to this hospital. I'd be proud for them to come to this hospital and be taken. That's great.
That's great. And Julio?
Right. Just echoing Dr. Wallace's comments. I think it's a weird timing thing where the chief of staff is a pulmonologist and the vice chief of staff is an anesthesiologist, and we're super aggressive. And early on, people were questioning our aggressiveness, but now we're collecting the fruits of that, right? The second thing is I'm so proud of our physicians and nurses and administrators. We're really working really well together. We, like Dr. Wallace said, we're part of the system, and our credentialing from a medical staff point of view, we do tend to stay on silos within our home bases. Mm-hmm. But we took all the red tape out, right? We took all the red tape out and we said, you know what? Long Beach is needing help. I can send people over there. Orange Coast needs help. We can send people over there. We took all the red tape out. Right. The third thing is, this is a community hospital. It's not a very large hospital, Saddleback, but it's a family hospital. My family goes there. Dr. Wallace's family goes there. So when people talk about safety, listen, I want to be able, when I work there, I want to be able to send, you know, my kids there, my wife there, myself, if I need to.
Exactly. Well, thank you both. Keep up the great work. Zero transmission is really amazing. So definitely keep that going. And I appreciate you both taking the time out of your busy day.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right. And we'll be right back after this.